Hey, what's happening everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always so much for being here. Hope you're having a lovely day out there. Let's go ahead and listen to some more Frank Zappa. It's been a little bit since we've listened to him, and I kind of wanted to engage with his zaniness. I wanted to hear some good musicianship, but with a little bit of zaniness. So we're going to listen to the first track on Overnight Sensation, released 1973. Camarillo, Brillo. Camarillo, Brillo? Camarillo, Brillo? Depends on how you slice it. Like I said, I just felt like listening to a little Zappa right now, so that's what we're going to do. Hope you guys are having a great one out there. Let's go ahead and put it on. We'll talk about it after. I got to pull it up, and here we go.
She had that Camarillo Brillo,
Okay.
flaming out along ahead. I mean her Mendocino Beano, by where some bugs had made it red. She ruled the toads of these short forests, and every newt in Idaho, and every cricket who had chorus by the bush in Buffalo. She said she was a magic mama, and she could throw a mean tarot, and carried on without a comma, that she was someone I should know.
It's a great line, carry on without a comma.
She had a snake for a pet, and an amulet, and she was breeding a dwarf, but she wasn't done yet. She had gray-green skin, a doll with a pin. I told her she was alright, but I couldn't come in. I couldn't come in right then.
Not yet.
And so she wandered through the doorway, just like a shadow from the tomb. She said her stereo was four-way, and I just love it in her room. Well, I was born to have adventure,
Very tight drumming.
so I just followed up the steps, right past a fuming incense stencher, to where she hung her castanets. She stripped away her rancid poncho and laid out naked by the door. We did it till we were on concho, and it was useless anymore.
Okay.
She had a snake for a pet, and an amulet, and she was bleeding a dwarf, but she wasn't done yet. She had gray-green skin, a doll with a pin. I told her she was alright, but I couldn't come in. Actually, I was very busy.
I mean, it seemed like you did.
She wandered through the doorway, just like a shadow from the tomb. She said a stereo was four-way, and I just love it in a room. Well, I was born to have adventure, so I just followed up the steps, right past the fuming incense stencher, to where she hung her castanet. She said she was a magic mama, and she could throw a mean tarot, and carried on without a comma, that she was someone I should know. Is that a real poncho? I mean, is that a Mexican poncho, or is that a Sears poncho?
Who knows?
No fooling.
You know, the song is actually pretty straight-laced to what I would kind of expect from Zappa, but is Frank-laced and, of course, slightly more laced with some of that zaniness. The lyrics, Like, I don't know what he's talking about, but at the same time, like, you can kind of gather what he is talking about. I love the line, however, when he says, and carried on without a comma, that she was someone I should know. Like, I love that. Carried on without a comma, no pause, no hesitation, just straight through, running on through. I love that little bit of punctuation that he brings into the facet of the actual lyrics that he's talking about. The drumming is absolutely fantastic here. Ralph Humphrey on the drums, especially the fills. I love how nicely produced, I should say actually, first of all, that the toms are, because they have a nice, for lack of a better word, a thumpiness. Like there's a, I don't know if that means anything, but like there's a nice thump to those drums, especially when it comes to the toms, which I think are very nice. The snare has a little bit of a jazzy flavor to it, and the whole song has this tasty groove. Love when the guitar begins to speak out a little bit more, and then the piano begins to speak out a little bit more, and then finally you got some horns that begin to speak out a little bit more. Like, I just like how there's this solid straight line, thorough line of groove, and then little by little, you know, elements start to show themselves a little bit more into the light. And once again, this is to me a very straightforward, funky, with a little bit of a silly spin on it, like a little bit, but it's easily to enjoy and be entertained, even if you're not really paying attention to the lyrics or anything. Let's talk about that. She had that Camarillo Brillo. What does that mean? Don't know. But what does it mean? You know. Flaming out along her head, I mean her Medocino Bino, by where some bugs had made it red. She ruled the toads of the short forest and every newt in Idaho, and every cricket who had chorused by the bush in Buffalo. She said she was a magic mama, and she could throw a mean tarot, is how he says it, but tarot is how he's spelled, and carried on without a comma, that she was someone I should know. She had a snake for a pet and an amulet, and she was breeding a dwarf, but she wasn't done yet. She had gray-green skin, a doll with a pin. I told her she was all right, but I couldn't come in. Even though it seems maybe he did a little bit. I was born to have an adventure, so I just followed up the stairs, right past her fuming incense stencher to where she hung her castanets. And there's some things that happened. A little bit of a Scott Walker next situation, and and it repeats kind of from there. Let's look at some of the information on the Wikipedia page for this particular one. It says, the song's lyrics include many colloquialisms and made-up words. I can imagine. The title itself is a pun. Zappa mispronounces Camarillo, the name of a city in California, to rhyme with Brillo, I guess, shining, or Brillo, shining or brilliant in Spanish. The arrangement uses a lot of brass instruments, a lot of percussive techniques, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of nice stuff going on in there. Is basically where this ends. There's a lot of good stuff happening. But let me know what you guys thought of the track. It's a fun opener. Should we continue on? Let me know down in the comments below. You can follow me in a bunch of places on the screen. Thank you so much for being here. Come on back tomorrow, and I will see you all then, guys. Bye.